Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I know the weather is super awesome out there, so a bit of a smaller turnout than usual, but can't say I blame them. It's like summertime in March, so that works, right? Um, ooh, I see an instrument. Anyway, tonight we've got Megan here with us. She's here to talk about website design, e-commerce, so like how to get your content online in a way that looks good and also hopefully makes you money. So I'll hand it over to you, Megan, to get started.
Thank you, Skylar. Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Walsh. I'm a digital marketer in Owen Sound, and I own an agency in the Grainverse area. I've been working a lot with small businesses and kind of e-commerce style businesses for the past 2.5 years. I recently helped complete the New Summer Folk website. There is a store component coming to that, but I do know that I know there's some things up in the air about that. But anyways, it's all going to kind of roll into what we're going to talk about tonight. I think specifically I'm going to be focusing on not only like what websites to use that are kind of easy interfaces, click and drag, but also some really great options for e-commerce that tie in with both Facebook and Instagram and social media, and just options that I think make your life a lot easier to go in, set up an option for people to be able to buy your merchandise, your product, or book with you, or download a PDF or whatever it is that you might be selling. So I'm very excited to get started today. I'm going to share my screen. I'll just give it a minute there just to make sure everyone can see what we're doing today. So this is, I think, part 3 or 4, Skylar, of our digital literacy classes that we've been having.
Yeah, I believe this is number 3. Yeah.
And then next Monday, we've got John Farmer doing podcasting. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so here's the summary for my class tonight. I know we were supposed to do about 45 minutes of me presenting. I might go a little bit longer than that. And then at the end, we'll have it open up for questions. So if it's just the two of you, then feel free to like ask as many, like this is your open time to ask me any questions you have. But to start, I'm going to talk about some e-commerce options. There's a ton, but I've got 4 that I kind of want to focus on. My favorite being Shopify, and I'll get into the back end of a Shopify store and kind of explain why I love Shopify the best. I'm then going to share with you guys some license-free resources such as images, music tools, things that you could be using to help with your social media and also help with building your website. I'm going to talk a bit about print on demand and why I think it's a really great tool for people who are starting out and want to sell things along the lines of merchandise. I'm going to talk a bit about the importance of data collection and customer retention. I believe that that's a very big component. I know a lot of people think it's kind of icky and they don't really understand it or like the full concept of it, but I'm going to explain why it's important and how it will save you money. I'm going to talk about selling through social media. So that's one of my favorite reasons for using Shopify is it connects automatically with Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and all these other cool things that just make the experience completely seamless for you, someone who's going to be selling stuff online. And then I'm going to be taking some questions at the end. We can have a kind of an open discussion. I can go through, and if there's only a couple of you here, then maybe it's more of a one-on-one thing. Maybe you get a chance to pick my brain for a little bit longer. So to get started, I'm going to talk about some of the e-commerce options that I've used before in the past. Obviously, there's other ones other than this, but first one being Shopify. It's my favorite, so I'm going to talk about that in the next slide. But Shopify is my go-to. Like they're Canadian, they're based out of Kitchener-Waterloo, and their best resource is selling physical products online. So selling items, selling like t-shirts, selling merch, selling artwork, selling jewelry, things like that. Etsy is as well, I would say kind of second tier to Shopify. You can go online, you can have a creator page and you're able to sell physical items on Etsy. It does have some similar connections to social media that Shopify has as well, but man, I've had such a hard time getting them to work with Etsy. Like I still have to put Shopify above that because the integration is just like a one-click thing. I was recently helping out a friend who has a jewelry store on Etsy, and we weren't able to connect anything through her Facebook shop, her Instagram shop. So she suddenly decided, you know what, let's get rid of Etsy. I want a Shopify store. It was so easy to do the one click and set everything up. So we're in the process of transferring her over. Squarespace would be my next option for physical items, but digital items as well. They have a great option now, and it's new with the monthly fee. I think there's a free trial involved, but they have a scheduling service now with Squarespace. So people can get in and you can let clients book themselves, like you would have like a back-end calendar. People could go in and book for your services. And then you're able to kind of use it as a CRM tool in the back end. But Squarespace also has the option for digital downloads. So if you were selling like a PDF or like an online course or something like that, Squarespace might be the better option versus Shopify or Etsy, where you'd be selling physical items. But you can also sell physical items on Squarespace. So I have a Squarespace website for my website. I don't really sell anything on there, but I'm probably going to be switching it over to a more robust WordPress site in a little bit, but I'm not somebody who's like selling physical items. So it was easy for me to use. There was a great click and drag quality to it. So I think it's a great option to get started. And then Woocommerce would be if you had a WordPress website already, or you were thinking of getting a WordPress website, Woocommerce would be like an additional add-in, like a plugin that you would add into the website that would allow you to sell items online. I'm sure that there's a scheduling app that you could bring into WordPress. I'm sure that there is a download option to bring into WordPress. WordPress is kind of like the big open source. You can do a lot of things on there. So I do think it's a good option, but I think it's a more advanced option. So with that being said, let's talk about why I love Shopify so much. I think it is a great tool for first timers. I think it's a great tool for people who have never done any sort of website design or set a website up before. It literally is click and drag. There's free templates available. You can pick a template and swap out the images and have like a working store within a couple of hours. So it's easy to set up. There's great support. Again, it's a Canadian company. Anytime I run into an issue, I can get someone on chat right away. Like they have like a little messenger board, or you can call in, and the resources are very helpful. There's a lot of helpful free add-ons. There's a lot of great plugins. Basically, a Shopify store on its own is very simple, but if you want items like pop-ups to come up in the bottom corner that say, oh, somebody just checked out with this item, or somebody just bought that, that would be like an add-on. If you want to add an Instagram feed, that would be a plugin. So there's so many things that you can add into it, and I think the majority of them are free. And if they're not free and they're paid, well, they're only a couple dollars a month, and it really makes sense to be able to add those in and use them. The other great thing about Shopify is the integration with Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Google Merchants. I'll get into talking about that a little bit more later, but it really makes the experience seamless, and it allows people to shop for your items on social media and actually check out. It's great. Point of sale software, I'll talk about this too. I've got all these pages open. I think it's a really great option. It's free with your monthly plan, like it's already included. If you are an Apple user and you have like an iPhone, like you already have the POS software to be able to run this whenever. Like if you're on the road, if let's say you're a musician and you have a merch table, this is like you can have a tap reader that costs $69 and people can pay with debit or credit or whatever. If you're doing deliveries, if you're doing lessons, people can just pay simply by using your phone or an iPad or something like that and be able to check out. And it keeps all your accounting simple. It keeps everything kind of worked into one system. And again, it's already included in your monthly Shopify fee. There's also discounted shipping rates through Canada Post. Not by a lot. I mean, shipping costs a lot in Canada, and Canada Post is definitely one of the most expensive things, but it's our only option up here in Grey and Bruce County. So being able to get a discounted rate, even if it is 5 or 10%, is really a great asset. And then it also comes with a 14-day free trial. I did put in here that there is an unlimited free trial through my partner account. So what that means is I am a Shopify partner. So if someone were to set up a store with me, I go through and I'm able to set up the back end of the store. And as long as that store is not live, it can sit there for free. Like the trial is extended unlimited until you finish the store, at which time I can then hand it off to you. We can make it live. So that's one of the benefits, I guess, of working with someone like me. So I want to get in and show you the back end. of my husband's store. So he's not well, he is a musician, but he owns a record store downtown Owenstown called Sour Cat Records. He just opened last year, so it was a really crappy time to open a new business, but he has prevailed. And I think a lot of that has to do with great technology, having a simple to use POS system in place, and the fact that we had his online store set up ahead of time. So before everything got shut down, we had it set up for December 2019. So it's been really great for him. It's easy for him to use. Like, he is not a tech savvy person. He was scared to use the personal checkout options at like a grocery store, but but he feels comfortable using this. Like, that's the kind of like level that he was at. So I would say with the back end of a Shopify store, it looks like there's a lot of information going on here, but I'm going to simplify it. When you get in and you decide that you want to open up a Shopify store, the first thing I always tell people to do is set up the back end. Now, you know, the back end is, don't worry about all this stuff, products, customer analytics, all this. Simply go to the settings tab, and you're going to work your way through all of these sections, whether it's general, location, shipping. You're just going to work your way through setting this up. Payments, you're going to need to add a credit card, and also checkout options, shipping and delivery. So you would be able to sync in your PayPal account. Shopify also has their own payment system. So if you don't have a PayPal account, you can use Shopify payments. That allows people to check out on your store, allows people to check out using the POS system. You can set up gift cards that work with Apple Wallet. So people, if they go on your online store and they buy a gift card, they get an email that they can either send as a gift or whatever, but they can load it onto their Apple phone. So they can come into the store, they can email it to a friend, and it works based off a QR code. So as long as they have that QR code when they come into the store, my husband is able to just scan that or type in the letters that's associated with it, and it's available across the board, whether they buy something online or they buy something in store. Shipping and delivery was something that we were able to set up and create rules. So we had it where somebody was able to check out one time and they bought something, it was shipped to Denmark. And it's like a 90-day, like they picked like the slowest rate, and it was terrible. Well, we didn't realize that we had international shipping set up. So we were able to go in and cancel that out and make sure that we're just shipping to North America. We do ship to the States as well, but we're able to set up rules. Like, let's say that we wanted to have people not be able to buy things online. My sister's account is like this. She has a plant store. We're just getting it set up, and she's like, I don't want to ship plants, you know, that seems too fussy, but I want people to be able to buy stuff online, but I want them to have the option to do in-store pickup or local delivery. So we set a radius for her local delivery. So we can say that maybe there's a delivery fee of $3. We can make sure that when people put in their address, it's within 10 kilometers of where she lives. And she's able to like mediate like how far she does deliveries, and also allows people to come to her house basically and pick up plants. So that was a really great option. She also sells at the Pine Refillery in Collingwood. So she kind of has like I don't remember what it's called. Like, anyways, you can go into the store there and buy her plants. So we have that set up as like another location. So people can choose to either pick it up at her house, choose local delivery, or go to the Pine Refillery to pick up their orders. So there's really great options for delivery and shipping, and being able to set zones and being able to set pricing. Like, it's really awesome. You would also need to set up your HST number here. Like, literally to set this stuff up, it just walks you through it. It's so simple. I would say as long as you can have your credit card number, your PayPal account login information, your HST number, and probably your bank account information so Shopify can send you money. Everything else just makes sense. The other thing that's really great about the back end of Shopify, getting into the legal section. So the legal section is your refund policy, your shipping policy, privacy policy is also very important, and your terms of service. Shopify generates this for you automatically. So this, like, let's say this was empty, I would go place a template in here, and it's going to generate all of this legal jargon automatically. So then on the front end of my husband's store at the bottom, it has privacy policy that people can click on. And we've just gone through and made sure that, it said Sour Cat Records specifically, or, the return policy we had to write specific to him, but they give you templates. It creates a page for you already. And I think that's one of the other great features with Shopify. So the other thing that is easy about Shopify are the templates or the themes. There's a lot that are free. So if you went to free themes and explore free themes, I think there's about 12. And they're all pretty basic, but I mean, like, you don't really need, if you're selling an item, you don't really need anything beyond just like what a basic Shopify store is. Normally there is a home page that you can kind of click and drag and add images in. Like if we were to switch around his theme and we chose this one, which I think is his actual theme that he has, we would easily be able to click on that image and change it. Actually, let's get in and see if we can. I'm going to go customize. You can see that we're on the home page. And on the left-hand side here, it's got the whole layout of the home page. So we've got the header that we can get in and work on. Do we want to change the logo? Do we want to have an announcement bar? Like, do I want to change what it says on the announcement bar saying that we're closed temporarily? Making a link, adding different components to the menu. And then we kind of get into the structure of the page. So we've got kind of this header image. We can add a slide, like we can make it more than one image, the height, and then we can like control the speed. Like these are all like pretty easy things to be able to get in and do. The other great thing with Shopify is it will pull all your items into a collection list. So for Russell, we have new arrivals, and in the back end when we're adding products, we just simply, there's a rule set up that because we added this within the last 10 days that it's considered a new item. So if we were to click into this as a customer, it's only going to show us what's been recently updated. And add products quite easily through the products tab. There's inventory tracking, there's transfers and collections and gift cards, and there's customer analytics, like all this stuff that I think is really exciting. I will show you how easy it is to add a new product, but in the product tab here, we're simply going to hit all products or add products, sorry. And this is where we would add a title. So it's giving us an example of t-shirt, a description. The description would be kind of like the materials it's made out of. This also counts for SEO data. So if you wanted to kind of like plunk a good paragraph in there that featured keywords, things to do with what your store does, your location, whatever, then this is kind of a great spot to put it in. So this, I don't know, we would say like 100% cotton, black. I don't know, we would put more than that, but that would be where we'd add stuff. Media, we can add multiple different images. It'll give us an option to add that one, a few different ones, but we can like choose like, okay, we want this to be the main image, then we can kind of keep going and add a few more items. And we just simply have to work our way down the middle here, and then we can get over to the right-hand side. So pricing, what do we want to sell it at? $14. The compare at price would be if we want to make it look like it's on sale all the time. So we could say, oh, normally it's $18, but today, just for you, it's $14. Oh, I accidentally hit save. We're getting back down here. So this again was price that it looks like it's normally at and price that we're selling it at. Cost per item, this is, you don't have to put this in, but to make sure that your numbers make sense, because this also kind of counts for if you're going to be filing your HST, you want to know how much you've spent on things and how much you've sold on things. So maybe the cost of a shirt is $8. If you want to charge tax on this item, yes, that should already be selected unless you are under the rules for HST. If you make less than $30,000 a year, you do not have to have an HST account. Inventory for SKU or barcodes. If this is a new item that you like a t-shirt or artwork or something that you've made, you don't need to add anything in here. Shopify will generate its own SKU for you. But if you had an existing product that you were bringing in and you were reselling and it already had a SKU, or maybe it's like a book or something and it's got the ISBN, this would be where you would add it in. But if you like leave it empty, it's going to generate its own. Available. How many of these shirts do we have available? 5. Incoming would be like if we also use the inventory process here, which I know my husband doesn't use, but maybe if you had more, I don't know, that would be more so like if you were like reselling items, you can get in contact with the distributors. But I think as someone who is maybe selling a few t-shirts or some artwork or something like that, you wouldn't need to use that component. Is this a physical product? Is it not? In this case, it is. Weight, you would have to, I guess, know the weight of a t-shirt. I'm going to say it's 0.5 kilos. And this has to do with shipping. So if you're not doing shipping using Canada Post, let's say you're just doing local delivery or local pickup, you don't need to worry about the weight because you're not going to be using Canada Post. Customs information, again, if you're not going to be shipping across the border, then you don't need to fill out this information. Variance is great. So this is where we can go in and set up sizing. So we can say small, comma, medium, comma, large, comma, extra large. So now Shopify knows that we have 4 different sizes. And it's got them set up here saying small, medium, large, extra large. It's got the price. It'll have the SKU eventually. But it's saying, well, we have 5 of the small. Well, that's easy to change. We can bring that down to 2, 1, 1, 1. And if we wanted to add another option like color, then we could say black, red. Now it shows small black, small red. Oops. Small black, small red, medium black, medium red. You can add individual pictures for each of the variants. You can even get in further and edit more things like inventory and things like that. Like I think it's a really great option to be able to put in the quantity of each item. And this also helps too with the customer journey because then it's a simple, they're not going to, 5 or 10 different product pages. They're on the t-shirt page and they're able to hit a drop down that says, well, I want a small t-shirt and I want it in black. So that kind of cuts down on website pages and it helps with the customer journey. At the bottom, there's edit SEO. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. So this is what is going to help your website rank on Google. So in here, you want to focus on writing a sentence that hits a lot of keywords. So for my husband's case, he's talking about black t-shirts. A lot of people sell black t-shirts online. We probably specifically want to mention that it's Sour Cat Records. It's a record store. Like I got to put a lot more in here than 100% cotton and black. Like there should be a good paragraph where you're hitting 5 keywords to do with Owen Sound, Gray and Bruce. I mean, obviously we have to put that it's a t-shirt or that it's cotton or whatever, but the name of the business, where you're located, and maybe things that are specific to your niche. So records, bands, things like that. That's going to help your website rank. So once you're done filling out the product variants, the image and the title, we have to come up to the right-hand side. We want to make the product status active. I'm going to keep this in draft because this doesn't need to be on his website, but we'd want to change it to active. And then your sales channels. So for his case, we want things to show up on the online store, or maybe we don't. Maybe we only want people to be able to buy this point of sale. And that could mean at a store, that could be you in person, that could be you showing up to somebody's house and doing a delivery and they're only checking out using your point of sale software. Messenger is Facebook Messenger. Google is Google Merchant Account. Facebook. So we can go in and pick and choose where we want people to be able to buy stuff. Like let's say we only want a point of sale because this is an item that we don't want to ship or something. And I mean, even though you can have it online and have other options for local delivery and pickup and that, maybe he just wants this to be a secret item that's only available at point of sale. Sometimes he goes and does There's like a vinyl night at the Hartwood Hall in Owensound, and he kind of lugs a couple items there. He brings just his iPad. He brings like a little tap and chip reader, and that would be his point of sale for the night. So people could come there exclusively, get those items that they wouldn't be able to get other places. He in particular has both new vinyl and used vinyl, but he doesn't put his used vinyl up online. He's just worried that people are going to buy things, not be able to distinguish the quality of the used item, have it shipped to them. They're not expecting it to be this scratched or this damaged or whatever. There's just too much risk involved. So for the online store, we only ship new products. So once that's done, then we're gonna get into the organization type. So this would be product type. So we've got this all set up for, is it a shirt? Is it a pin? Is it merch? In this instance, I'm gonna put shirt. Vendor is himself. This again would be, let's say you had other products that you were selling from other people or other, you bought them from other sources, then you would, just for your own sake, put the vendor in there. And then there's the option for collections here. So there's two ways that we can use the collections. One, again, is we can set a rule in collections saying anything with the product type or tag. I'm going to put a product tag here as merch. So in collections, we can set up and say anything with the product tag merch equals it goes to the merch collection, or we can actually add this to, I don't know if we actually have a merch collection. We don't have to build a new one. Or we can actually set up a new collection here and say it goes to merch. The tags, again, is a great way for people to search on your store. Like I would use tags almost like they're basically hashtags, like what you would use on Instagram to get people to find your posts. If you wanted people to specifically search, like we've got different genres here. So if someone were to go to the front end of this website and search blues, and in the back end, we had tagged a whole bunch of records with that tag, then it's going to populate and kind of show them what they're looking for. So I would definitely say having a lot of tags to do with what you're selling is going to help with the customer experience. And then the bottom section here, theme templates, don't touch this. Just leave it as product. That's what it's meant to be. And it just has to do with the front end of it. So when you're done adding a title, a description, images, pricing and variants, and making sure to utilize tags and product type, you would hit save and it would be live on your website. It's as easy as that. So that's kind of the basics of doing the front end of the Shopify store. It's you pick a free theme, you go and replace the images that are already there, and I'll show you where we can get free images. And then you go to products and you start adding products in the back end. And once your products are added to the back end, we can then get into setting up sales channels. So this, like I was talking about before, we want to make sure we've got the point of sale. If you want to sell on Facebook, if you want to sell on Instagram, that's also through Facebook. But there's so many sales channels here. eBay, Pinterest is one that I think is really great for artisans. If you have small items, crafts, things like that, like Pinterest is like the new, like I don't think people utilize it enough because I think they just think it's for recipes or something. Like it really is a strong SEO platform, and being able to have Shopify integrated to use Pinterest for sales is great. When you sign up and create a Pinterest business account, Shopify gives you a $100 USD Pinterest ads credit. So you can use that on your new Pinterest business account to promote your items, to drive traffic to your website, and to get people to check out. Shopify also has that with Google. So Google Ads or Google Merchant. Google Merchant is, if you just like Googled anything and went to like a blog post, like let's say you're looking up a recipe and it's a blog post and you're kind of scrolling along and then halfway through the recipe, there's like a Google ad. That's Google Merchant. So it'll kind of showcase, I've had it targeted to myself for my husband's store all the time. Like a record will come up and it'd be like, oh, I know, we have that. And then I don't realize it's an ad for his store, and I click through on it because I want to compare pricing and stuff. That would be an instance where Google Merchant would come in. But being using Shopify and then setting up a Google Ads account, you get $100 USD Google Ads credit to be able to put towards advertising. And that works out to about $130 Canadian. So I think it's definitely worth getting like the free ads credit for Pinterest and Google as well. They also have the shop button. I've used this sometimes just in general, like some stores have this. It's just like another, like, I don't know what to describe it as. It's like a program. Like I have an app on my phone, and anytime I've bought items through the shop app, like they might be all from different stores, but there's like an update on like when it's shipped out. Like it's very well integrated, and I myself want to learn a little bit more about it. But it's another great one. And then there's a buy button as well. So this would be useful. Let's say you were being promoted on somebody else's website. You can go and get a buy button, which basically just kind of, they're talking about you in a blog, we can kind of plunk the button there. It brings people back to the checkout page. They can kind of complete the purchase on your website. Shopify is also great for, like, let's say you already have like a WordPress website set up and you don't really want to go through and change everything over, but you like the use of the back end of Shopify. They will allow you to use the Shopify, basically the checkout process. So you're able to integrate both like a WordPress site and the back end of Shopify and have the customer interaction be seamless, like the checkout be seamless. So it's great. And then like I had mentioned before, there's a bunch of apps. Like literally, oh, email marketing, like this is free. Geez, anything that's just like pop-ups or like discount codes or like additional things that just kind of like make the experience. I mean, sometimes people think it's a bit much, but like anything that you can think of, there is something in the app store for it. So anyways, these are ones that we have right now, but I don't know, let's take a look. Oh, I'm gonna have to log in. Anyways, trust me. There's a lot of great apps in there. A lot of them are free. And even if they are paid, they're only a few dollars a month, but it's really a great way to like kind of beef up what Shopify can do. Like if you need it to be more so of an inventory tracking, scheduling, any sort of integration with like a CRM tool, that's when you would get into the app store and be able to have Shopify work as hard as it can for you. Let's get back to here. So helpful add-ons. Easy selling on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and Google Merchant. I'll show you guys a little bit more of that later. Oh yeah, I want to talk more about the point of sale software. So this is why I think this is so cool. When my husband first opened up his store, we were using, gosh, what was it? Vens. We were using Vens, which did integrate seamlessly with Shopify. I don't believe that it actually did. But Vans, Canadian dollars, cost us $163 a month. Shopify, we're just on like the basic Shopify plan even till today. I think it works out to about $36 a month Canadian. So we were paying monthly for our inventory software and checkout and POS through Vend. Then we were paying for our online store through Shopify. But in May of 2020, we got picked for a beta on the Shopify new point of sale software. And I'm so glad that we made the switch over because it's included with our monthly Shopify fee. It's included. So the POS Lite is all we have. It's already part of our Shopify plan. So we're not paying any additional dollars. We're able to save $163 a month just simply by using Shopify POS. And it's so simple. Like literally, I describe it as like a self-checkout line at a grocery store. Like it's like there's tiles and you can just click and drag. It works on an iPad or an iPhone. So I think it's great if you already have an iPhone, you're already set up. Even if you have to go out and buy the basic model of an iPad, which we did, it was around the $300, $350 mark. So that was pretty easy. We have a physical store, so we also have like a cash drawer and like a receipt printer and that, but it's a very slimmed down version if you just want to go with a iPad and the little tap reader. So my sister, she's got a little plant shop. She went out and got an iPad and she got this chip reader. It's small, it can fit on the back of your phone. It's a one-time fee of $69. It's shipped within about 3 days. Like, I'm pretty sure it comes from Kitchener Waterloo. And there's no, like, other than like payment fees, which would be the same as using Square or any sort of credit card processing, there's no monthly fee to have this tap and chip reader. So she is able to come and do a pop-up shop in my husband's store. We did one for Christmas and one for, I guess, like St. Patrick's Day. We're going to be doing one again for Easter. She shows up, she brings her iPad, she brings her little chip reader. People can pay with credit, they can pay with debit, they can tap on the iPad screen, they're able to go through and put their PIN code in if needed. There's an additional step where they can get their receipt emailed to them or text to them, like super easy, really great. And the other great thing with the iPad is if they have gift cards for your store, you can just use the iPad camera to scan the QR code and have it show up and be added to their checkout system. So I think that's really great. It's a super slimmed down method. And like, if you already have an iPhone, like you just need to buy the $69 tap and chip reader. So I think it's great. I think there's like a little preview here. Yeah, like it's literally just tiles. Like you can add customers. You can like make, like we've got kind of quick picks here. That'll be like, oh, a cassette, like things that we don't really have tags for. So maybe for you only sell 4 or 5 different things. Then you would just simply set up tabs. You can search by QR code. You can search by product name. You can search by SKU. It'll generate in the cart, and it's as simple as sending, saying, oh, your total is this. It generates the tax for you, and then it sends the payment notification to the tap and chip reader. People tap their card, the payment is done. They can get the receipt emailed to them. Super easy. So everything you guys will get a copy of my presentation here. Everything that's highlighted in pink is a link. So it just brings you to all the features as well. So you can go through and decide if this is also a good option for you. The discounted shipping rates for Canada Post, I already talked about that. Basically, because of where we live, we have to go with Canada Post. Shopify has it up so that we can basically print our shipping labels in-house. So if my husband gets an order online, we go through and we start the process to fulfill the order. And part of that will say, buy shipping label. So how it works in this case is the shipping gets calculated on the customer's end based on where they live, the product size, which all records are the same size, so that's easy for us, and the product weight. The customer will then pay the $15 or whatever it works out to be. So we then get a payout from Shopify of the item plus the shipping from the customer. Then in the back end, we then go through and buy a shipping label from Canada Post via Shopify, and we get a discounted rate. So maybe the customer paid us $15 and we end up paying $13.50 or something like that. We're then easily able to print out a shipping label just on like a 8x10, actually it's 4x6, so it's only half of an 8x10, just like a full sticky sheet of paper, like a label or something. We print that out, we stick that on the box. We're able to print out an item list for the customer, put that in the box, and then we're literally like across the corner from Canada Post. He just walks it over there. They have no issues with the waiting or anything like that, and they ship it out for us. So I find it's pretty easy. I wish we lived somewhere where there were other options, but that's the way it is. And then again, there's a 14-day trial to start Shopify. If you wanted to email me afterwards, we can talk about setting up and using my partner account program, like a Shopify, something that you want to use, but you're worried about getting everything set up within the 14-day trial. Working with someone like myself means that there is an unlimited trial, and we can make sure that the website is set up the way you like before it is launched. So then I wanted to talk about some free resources. Again, all of these are links. So when you're going through and building your Shopify store, like when you're actually in, like I was showing, picking images and stuff, I think, I forget what the licensing is here. Maybe it's like, it might be Unsplash, I don't remember. But they have like beautiful images there that you can go through and pick that are license free for your website. Now you can't take the images off the website, but they're there, they're set up. I find it's a great collection to start. Like I even think the header for his store, I think I just got it from Shopify. Like this image here, I think is just from, I don't remember where I got that from. So if I went add slide and then I went explore free images, it's got things kind of set up here. So nature, these are all license free to add. Free images, library would be things that we've uploaded in the past. And you can upload items there. So let's see. So we could add like this record slide. That's cool. Look, these are all license free and these are like really good images. Or like this one. Anyways, like this is included with Shopify, which I think is great. Other great resources would be, I use Pexels a lot. So they have free images and video. Unsplash has like really cool stuff. I believe they also have video. But basically license free means you don't have to pay for it. You're supposed to give credit though. So if you were to download one of these images, let's see if there's music even. If you were putting out a social media post or you wanted one of these for your website, you would simply click on it. I guess I'd have to log in, that's fine. Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna hit download. It automatically downloads it. And then it'll say, give a shout out to the person who actually took the picture. So what you should do is copy this link here. And if I were to add this to the website, I would just want to have a tiny caption underneath saying that this is where this image is from. That's all that these license-free sites are asking for is that you give credit, although a lot of people don't, and you're not going to get sued for it if you don't. But it's just kind of like a nice thing to do, especially if you're sharing things on social media. Like we downloaded this image, we can go and use it for one of his posts. And it would be great if just somewhere in the caption below we said image provided by, and then we put the link in there. So Unsplash is great. Like 8K resolution. I'm sure that you can like buy and license some of these, but the majority of these are free. So that's Unsplash. Pexels I really like. Pixabay has images, videos, and vector artwork. So vector artwork would be like, I don't know, basically like this thing in the corner. Like it would be like a little, like a Facebook logo or like a logo of, I don't know, maybe I could just open this up and see. Oh. And they have illustrations. So yeah, like something like this. Let's see, is there a duck? These are vector images. So usually they're a black silhouette. They're things that are not a real image, but you could download and use. So all of this is free. Again, they have vector graphics, or they have images, photos, and they have videos and illustrations. So I find like there's good reasons to have a collection of and like use all the different free resources. Freeicons.io is more so to do, I guess, with like the Facebook logo. You'd have to search. So I guess if you needed like percentage signs or like the WordPress logo or the Twitter logo, then this is where you can come to get icons. And then the last one is Bensound, which there is not a lot of free music out there. And I'm assuming a lot of you guys on this call like have your own music, and I would just use that. But if you needed a license-free clip to play behind a video, like a TikTok video or something like that, then you would go to Bensound. They don't have a huge collection, but they have a big enough collection that, I mean, it's fine. Yeah, music is the one that really kind of gets into like a lot of people have, you'd have to pay for it. And sometimes like even if we're doing like an Instagram story for my husband's store and he's got the record player going in the background, it's just slightly loud enough, Instagram will pick up what we're playing and then remove the video. And the video will get blocked because it can read the music in the background and say that's not licensed music. And it won't let us do the video. So we have to be very careful about having it quiet in the store when we do that. But hopefully you guys have your own music and can use that. So that's a great resource. Okay, so next I wanted to talk about print on demand. So print on demand, I believe, is a really great way to get started with merch. So if you're someone who, maybe you're an artist, maybe you're a musician, and you've always wanted to have t-shirts or like tote bags, or even this example here's got masks, like other things like that. And you just go, I just don't have, the $800 to put up front to buy 100 shirts. Like, I just don't have that money to put out front first. And also, I don't want just t-shirts. Maybe I want sweatshirts. Maybe I want hats. Maybe I want notebooks, whatever. The best way to kind of get started with that is using a print on demand service. So print on demand, I put 2 here. There's a bunch of them, and a lot of them connect directly to Shopify. But I picked these 2 because they work in Canada, and specifically Art of Wear is a Canadian, like they're from Montreal. So I'm just gonna, sometimes I can't get the bar above here to go away. Yeah, I'm just gonna reopen this. Art of Wear is from Montreal. They have a direct connection with Shopify, meaning it's seamless. And I'll explain how it works. So basically, you're able to list multiple items in your Shopify store, and I'm sure they have connections with Etsy and Woocommerce as well. You basically upload your artwork to an item. You get to select, there's all different, like any shirt that you would use if you were to buy inventory is available on here. You're able to upload artwork and basically showcase items without buying the inventory. So print on demand literally means these items only get printed and shipped on an as per ordered basis. So if a customer were to be able to come onto your shop, like pretend that this is your store here and you're able to offer sweatshirts and masks and t-shirts and headbands and bags and bedding for whatever reason and notebooks, you don't have to buy all of this up front. The singular item gets generated as somebody pays for it. And the other great thing about print on demand is Art of Wear, or whoever the print on demand company is, they are also your fulfillment center. So you don't have to worry about shipping to the customer. You don't have to worry about packaging. You don't have to worry about tracking. How it works is a customer goes online, they decide they're on your store, they want to buy a notebook that has your design on it. They go through, they check out, you get the money, and the notification gets sent to Art of Wear saying 1 person has bought a notebook from this person's store. We will print it. We will print 1 notebook. We will then ship it out to the customer on that store's behalf. We'll do the tracking and everything. It'll arrive. The customer won't know anything different. They'll open it up. And then at the end of the month, Art of Wear is going to come to you and say, hey, we shipped out 5 of these. Pay us for 5 of these that you've already been paid for from the customer. So it's really great for getting a head start on being able to offer multiple items. You don't have to pay for anything up front. You don't have to pay to hold inventory. You don't have to worry about shipping. You don't have to get packaging. You don't have to do any of that. Obviously, the cost is going to be higher per item on your end. So that's kind of, I wouldn't even say it's a downside. So if you were to buy 100 of these masks and have them in your inventory and take care of that on your own, maybe each mask costs you $3 and you're selling them for 10. Whereas in terms of using a print on demand service that's doing all of this for you, shipping it out and packaging and that stuff, maybe it costs you $6 per mask and you're selling it for 10. Or you can sell it for 12, we cover the cost, whatever, but it would be a higher cost per item, but I think it's a really great way to kind of get started with having items in your store. Like I hear so many times people are like, oh, I really want to have merch. Like, I would love to have t-shirts. I would love to have bags, but like, I don't have $1,200 to put towards this. Like, how do I get started with this? Best option. I think it's really great. So Printful is kind of the same thing as well. API connection. So basically the software works in tangent with Shopify. People who are shopping in your store have no idea that they're actually checking out on Art of Wear. Like, it's great. It's seamless. Wonderful. So the next important thing I want to talk about is collecting data. I'm going to get a little bit technical here, so tune out if you want, but I think this is important for a couple of reasons. I just want to Just reading some comments here. Okay, so what I'm talking about collecting data is the best example I have is, have you ever been on Amazon and you were searching for a new toaster and you went and you checked a couple out and you didn't really check out or anything, and then you left the website, and then for the rest of the day you keep seeing the same toaster ad. Like, how did they know I was looking for a toaster? Pops up on your Facebook, it pops up on your Google search history. Like, suddenly it's just like, man, they must have known I was looking for a toaster. That is pixel data. That is a sticky note that is attached to your IP address that tracks where you go on the website. It's cookies, it's your shopping history, it's, Google is very good at tracking if you are in the market for something. If you've gone and looked at a YouTube video for a certain type of sailing boat, and then you went and Googled sailing boats for sale near me, and then maybe you opened up Kijiji and went and looked for sailing boats, Google is going to say, hey, you're a potential customer. You're obviously in the market for a sailing boat. So we're then going to show you advertising that has to do with sailing boats. So maybe there's a company out there like Caframo from up in Wyerton. They have certain products that have to do with like winter storage for boats, air purifiers and things like that. It would be a great opportunity for Caframo to select and target people who are in the market for buying a boat because they have a complementary product. So that's kind of what I'm talking about when I'm saying collecting data. How it helps with your online store is it ultimately cuts down on your advertising costs. So when you start advertising, let's say you're doing a Google ad or a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad, whatever, you kind of have, your market is new. You don't really know who your customers are. Facebook doesn't know who your customers are. Google doesn't quite know who your customers are. So you're going to make a lot of guesses. You would go through and you would put in keywords or tags or certain types of people in certain areas, people in certain job industries, whatever. And you're just guessing what your audience is. But by having pixel data set up on your website, what'll happen is over time, people that actually click through on those ads, they become kind of like a poster child for who's most likely going to click through and buy from your website. So the pixel becomes seasoned. So the Facebook pixel becomes seasoned and it starts to learn who are the type of people based on their demographics, what they like, where they work, pages they like, things that they bought in the past. Are they more likely to click on your website and complete the checkout process? So as your pixel becomes seasoned, you're able to go in and set up something called a lookalike audience. And that's where Facebook will target similar people that have gone onto your website before or have checked out. And how that saves you money is if you start running an ad campaign targeting a lookalike audience. Well, these are all people that are supposed to be cookie cutters of the same people who have checked out before. You're now spending your ad dollars more wisely because you're only targeting people who are supposedly more likely to purchase something on your website. Instead of just guessing, instead of just making a new campaign each month and just, it doesn't make sense to keep putting ad dollars towards a new audience and a new audience if you already have a seasoned pixel. Facebook and Google is smart enough to know who is in the market for what you're selling, and they're going to be able to promote your stuff more cost effectively. So how this looks, I'm just going to see where I'm at. Part of where we went there. Here's the back into my store. Yes, so some of you maybe have Facebook business set up, some of you maybe don't. I get that it's confusing. I just kind of wanted to show you like how I can build an audience. So Russell is my husband. I've got different Facebook ads accounts here for different people. So this here, we have it set up on his website. Setting up a pixel might be kind of hard the first time. There is instructions. You can also have the option to email it to like a graphic designer or somebody who helped you build your website. Maybe like someone, your niece or nephew that knows more about this. But it's basically code. You're just copying like a number and you're putting it into your website. And this is tracking traffic that has come through Facebook and gone to his website. So that's great. We can see like page views and how many people have viewed content. And how many people have added something to cart. Like this is like all or initiated checkout or purchase or whatever. Like this is all like really juicy stuff. Because now that we've been tracking this, Facebook has a pretty good idea of who Russell's customers are. So when we're ready to run an ad, like let's say we want it to run summer ad, maybe something in conjunction with summer folk, or an advertisement for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, because we have this data source, I can then go into my audiences tab and I can build out a targeted ad based on those people that have are most likely to go to his website. If I can get this to load. Maybe it won't load. Facebook's a lot of memory and data. Okay. So if I wanted to create a new lookalike audience, I would go create audience. I would go lookalike audience, or I can do custom, or, oh, the other great thing, a saved audience. Is it saved or is it custom? I think it's custom audience. One of these, you can upload your email list. So if you've been smart enough to be collecting your client emails as they've been checking out, you can upload a whole email list. And if that person's email is the same email that they use to sign up for Facebook, you can target people that way. So again, those are people that are already on your customer list. They probably bought from you in the past. They know who you are. They're excited about what you're doing. And you're able to create an ad that just gets targeted towards them or people similar to them. It's going to save you on ad spend. So if I want to build a lookalike audience, select an existing lookalike audience. So I have a lot set up here. So Russell Walsh's Pixel, that has to do with the Sour Cat store. It's going to give you recommendations based on purchase or other event value. So we can say people who have added to cart. They didn't check out for whatever reason. They were excited enough to go into the website. They added something to the cart, but they didn't complete the purchase. So I want to be able to target these people, and it's going to be able to give frequencies and checkouts. Then we just basically have to select the location. So I'm going to say Ontario. Could be Canada, could be wherever your region is. Canada, sure, Canada's fine, I guess. And then your audience size, number of lookalike audiences, we're just going to build one. And then the percentage thing at the bottom, I know it looks kind of scary. It's got 0%, 1%, 2%, 3%. Basically, this is like how wide the net is cast. So if we keep things to 1% of a lookalike audience, is saying there's 256.9 thousand, and these are hyper targeted. If I wanted more people to be able to get on or see this advertising, I guess the strength of the lookalike audience is going to be weaker. But if I bring this out to 10%, the net is now cast at 2.6 million people. Are all those exactly high purchasers? No. Do they fall within the lookalike audience? Yes. So this has to do with hyper targeting. So if you wanted to keep it like, yeah, you know, only 250,000 people are going to see this, but they're most like the people who have put something in the cart before or checked out, maybe we should change this to purchase. Payment initiated checkout. Sure. So yeah, so if we wanted to say like we wanted people who look similar to people who have checked out on their website before or initiated a checkout, I guess it should be purchase actually. So people who are similar to people who have purchased on our website before, and we have it very hyper targeted, meaning it's just the top 1%. That is how we set up a lookalike audience. So we can go create audience. Source is too small, so it's going to give us information saying that's too small. Okay, so let's bring it up to 3%. Source is too small. And bring this out to 10% to get this to work. Maybe that's one of the issues with the area that we live in. We just don't have enough data sometimes. So maybe we bring this back to content even, like they've been on our website. Can we do that? Source is too small. In the same country. It doesn't want me to finish this. Well, I can't really think of a reason why it's not doing that at the moment. Maybe he just doesn't have enough data in the last 30 days. But I think, again, this is still a really great way. Like, we've got other lookalike audiences that we've set up before. Like, there's dynamic audiences. There's one, Shopify website customer audience. So I've already built this one before. So it's just saying it's ready to go. It already knows who these people are. And then we're able to select these. And if I wanted to go and then create an ad, this would be one of the options that would come up. So like, there's even like a music lovers audience. Like, there's website visitors. There's a lot that we can do with custom audiences aside from lookalike. But we can target people that like the Facebook page. We can target people who are friends of people that like the Facebook page. There's a lot that you can do for advertising purposes that just save on ad spend, that just mean that you're not targeting just random people. These are at least people that have an interest in what you're doing. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was combining social media. So when we were into the back end of Sour Cat Records, I had all these other sales channels set up. So I have Facebook set up, and Facebook includes Shopify. I have, I don't want to reconnect it right now, Google and Messenger. And what happens is this allows us to be able to push content out to both a Facebook store and an Instagram store. So if people are on Russell's Facebook page and they want to go shop now, this is basically a preview of what it looks like. So we have collections, we have merch, and we have vinyl LPs, and then we just kind of have like see all. So people are on Facebook. This is what the Facebook layout looks like. And they're able to go through and select items that they want to buy. Like if they were to go to the merch section, and if they were to say, oh, a hat, $25, and click on that, then they would go view on website, and it would take them to their Shopify page. And this is where they would continue to check out. They would go add to cart, and it would complete the full checkout process. So this is the same process with Instagram. I can't show it on the desktop version, unfortunately, but if you do have the Instagram app, you might have noticed that when you're on the news feed, like at the bottom, there's also a section now that says shopping. And it's through the shopping tab that's where you're able to go and view people's stores. So you can search for people that you like. There's going to be suggestions there, but basically the back end of both Instagram and Facebook stores is all run through Facebook, like the Facebook, what is this called? Commerce store. And it's like a one-click setup to have your commerce manager set up and active. Your catalog, it just pulls items in automatically from your Shopify store. Like it's just, and if you didn't want some things to show up on Shopify and you forgot to do it in the back end when you were setting up the sales channels, then this is how you can select items and, remove things. Or Facebook's pretty good at removing items that it thinks are inappropriate. Like sometimes Russell has records that, are records that you can buy, but the images on the records are not applicable for online. So Facebook will just take them off automatically. There's some of them are kind of funny and odd. We look at them and go, why was that removed? And then other ones like, yeah, that probably shouldn't be up on the internet. So it makes it really easy for the customer journey to be able to look on your Facebook store, check out through Messenger, whatever, and complete the process with Shopify. So I think with that, I know that was probably a lot of information to bring in. I'm going to open it up to questions, but I just want to remind everyone, take a chance, write down my email address, my business phone number, even my website. I might be doing some upgrades to my website in the future, but at least grab my email. If you have questions after today, this is the best way to reach me. But Skylar, I think I'm going to open it up here. I'm going to stop sharing for a couple minutes. And if anyone had any questions, this is the best time to ask.
Yeah, that was really great. I love I'm a detail person. I loved your level of detail. And the funny thing was, I just, literally 4 hours ago, sometime this afternoon, had discovered that Pexels in Pixabay.
Yeah.
I just have a little rush job, and I needed some images for a music video.
Yeah.
and very specific imagery. And I thought, well, I don't have time to go create something. So I'd never heard of it until this afternoon. And now you were telling me about it tonight. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But could you talk a little bit more about website development?
Yeah.
For my particular purpose, I don't need a lot of commerce options. The biggest value in our website is getting dates and times. It's a regular gathering of musicians at various locations. So most of the website is like a big long list of on this day go here, on that day go there. I'm always looking for good ways to get that calendar information out to people,
Yeah.
especially with,
What website are you using right now?
well, I actually started the website years and years ago with an ancient cast off version of Dreamweaver, and then that stopped working.
Oh,
And then I started using a free tool called Composer. But now, especially with the pandemic, when we've had no events, I'd like to take the opportunity to just start from the ground up and build a whole new website. But it's so confusing. Should I use WordPress or Google Sites has a lot of, templates that are really easy to set up, and I'm not an experienced web designer or
yeah.
put her together.
So the
So
main thing for you is like scheduling?
yeah, so to have calendars and little blurbs about what's happening on such and such
Yeah.
day.
My immediate recommendation for scheduling but being able to use click and drag would be Squarespace, because they still have the click and drag component and people are able to buy stuff on there, but they also have that new scheduling feature. But I am gonna show you the back end of the Summerfolk website because it is a WordPress site, and that was one of the biggest things that we had to talk about was scheduling and having because like whenever when people go and play on set, and I know we don't have musicians lined up quite yet for the store for the venue, but that was like one of the biggest things, like how do we like schedule all these events, how do we tell people where they're supposed to go. And one of the great things with WordPress, if you can get past kind of how not user friendly it is there's a lot of free plugins. There's so many plugins, like everything is open source. There's a lot going on here. You can see how like not user friendly this is compared to Shopify. But in terms of plugins, so WordPress itself, if you were to use WordPress is free. Where it costs money is with hosting. So if you have like a smaller website, you would sign up for something like Green Geeks and say like, we don't have like a whole ton of video or like images or stuff on there. And Green Geeks would say, oh, okay, well, you only need this much storage, it costs this much per month, and then they will host your website. So if you wanted to get in and spend time building a
Yeah,
WordPress website, it's free.
yeah, because the hosting is all taken care of. We've got all that stuff. I just need a way to
Okay.
build a website that doesn't look like something I built 15 years ago with an ancient tool. And something that does all the automatic reformatting so it looks good on a mobile device as well
Yeah.
as on, because that's so important.
So what am I on? Summerfolk. Summerfolk uses the events calendar. So there's a free version and then there's a pro version. So right now they're just using the free version, and then once we get into having like events and stuff, like more robust need for it, we're going to use the pro license for that. I think it's fine. It basically has like a calendar that people can click on, and you're able to add event details. Like, can I go new? Oops, new. Come on, that's too slow. New. New events. Maybe I should be doing this on the test one. And literally it's like add a title, add like plop in what it's about, like it's a basic text editor, like you can add images and all that. But then down further, this is where you add the date and time, the venue. You can create a new venue so we can talk about different places that people need to show up, who the organizer is. Maybe there is an event website, like if you're using, oh, what's the classic event place where you can buy tickets or something? I can't even think of it.
Eventbrite?
Yeah, Eventbrite. So like if people needed to check out or complete a purchase on Eventbrite, then you would put that URL here. If there's a cost to it, if there's not, the excerpt would be kind of like the SEO for it and who the author is. I mean, that's not me, but it's able to create like an okay looking, I don't even know if they have any events up right now that we could look at. Not sure they do.
How does the ticket sales integrate with that?
With Summerfolk specifically, they use an external program. I can't think of what it's called at the moment. Sometimes things are Eventbrite, which I think is great for scheduling and stuff. But they use Ticket Pro. That's right. So if somebody were to buy something, they would be taken off the website to an external item. Like they're fine. They wanted to keep things with Ticket Pro, so they sign up with Ticket Pro. Like if I were to go get tickets, they don't have any tickets for sale right now, but I wanted to
I
get
used to
tickets.
use brown paper tickets, but with the pandemic, they've actually gone out of business now.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I guess you would definitely need to focus on something that's online. So Summerfolk already had an account with Ticket Pro, so we just kind of kept it that way. People will check out on Ticket Pro. But Eventbrite also has the option to have physical tickets, like people can buy things on there. Like what WordPress is fine, but I think you will need help. I think you will need to hire someone to help build the front end of the website. Like it's great because you can do anything with WordPress, but there needs to be some fundamental information or knowledge about like building a website. And this is why I kind of want to recommend Squarespace for you, because I think it might be a better DIY option that kind of gets you in the door. So I'm going to switch over to Squarespace. So you can see how it's similar to the Shopify, where we've got pages on the one side, we've got design, we can add commerce, marketing, scheduling, analytics, other stuff. But if we were to get into pages, we can kind of build out a hierarchy. Like this is kind of maybe a bit more robust than Shopify in terms of pages. But I mean, webinar, this is for a webinar I did, I know, probably about a year ago now. But if I wanted to edit this page, I can just simply hover over the section I want to edit. And it is all click and drag. Maybe the editor won't load because we're on Zoom, but brings open an editor. I mean, I can click on the text. I do find it a little bit fidgety to get started. You can see, but I've got video inlaid here. I've got buttons that I've inlaid. Like if I wanted to add something new, I just hit the little plus button and it says, well, what do you want to add? Do you want to add a text block, an image, a video, a button, a line, a spacer, a card, a gallery, like a map, a newsletter, like there's appointment scheduling. Maybe this is more so what you're talking about, or a calendar. Maybe I should have done a calendar. Let's try something else. Oops, add calendar. Oh, it's a pretty nice looking calendar. Okay. Events,
Nice
it would be
looking calendar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Coming events. So then I guess I maybe don't have anything set up in the back end, but I want it to be a blog calendar, or do I want it to be upcoming workshops? So I don't have anything set up in upcoming workshops, but this is saying, what do you want the feature of this to be? It would be upcoming workshops. So then I can add that in there. I wanted to add something else. And it's like the plus button. I want to add a new title. I would hit text. And it's like title. And then you could go in and select whatever your headings are. Heading 1, 2, 3. And these are things that you would set up in the back end. Like I've set up my template or my style. Like I've got all my fonts the same, so that as soon as I go in and hit heading 1, like that matches the rest of my website.
Yeah, and that's the
Yeah.
kind of stuff I have done before. So
Yeah. I think it is a good kind of like you would be able to do this on your own to start. Wix is okay. I don't know. I've used Wix before for other clients. It frustrates me, but it again it's gotten better. It is also a click and drag option. I think Squarespace, like the basic monthly is maybe around $19. And then depending on what you need to add on top, if you need to add commerce on top of that, I believe it gets into like the $27, $28 a month. It may be, I'm not sure their recent pricing, but even like this scheduling thing too, I noticed that there is a 14-day trial, so you must have to be on a something that's a little bit higher than this. For my CRM tool, I use an external CRM tool that does all my booking stuff called Dubsado. It's heavy, like you don't need it. It's a lot. It has to do more so with like, I send out a lot of proposals and contracts and invoicing and automatic emails and stuff. So the website is just kind of like a front end thing for me, but I have more robust CRM tools in the back end that I use for scheduling. But it looks like it's more so for doing like client booking and stuff and online payments and intake forms.
okay, I'll have a look at that.
Yeah, have a look at this. I do have like a link for Squarespace here. But I think that would be my initial first recommendation is try Squarespace. They have a free trial. You know, I wouldn't get too detailed. Like first make sure like the scheduling and all that does what you want it to do before you like build out the site and make it look pretty, because you can spend a lot of time doing that. But if not that, you might have to look into WordPress. They do have templates and stuff. Like it's not like WordPress is not click and drag. Like they do have free templates that you can use that are click and drag. I just find like sometimes the back end of this stuff just looks so like there's a lot going on. It's not necessarily user friendly. And then people sometimes get back and they're like, if I click on this, what happens? And oh, I deleted that. I didn't mean to. So, but yeah, WordPress would be kind of like the ultimate thing to get to, but it's like, there's a lot of band-aid solutions to make a WordPress site work, whereas something all-inclusive like Squarespace is just, everything is on there. Also with Squarespace, you can host your, you can buy a domain through here, you can host your domain through here, and you can host your domain email. So if you have for my example, my email is Megan@ZeroBiz, that's a domain email. I actually have that managed through my Squarespace account instead of through whatever you call it, Google. I forget. Yeah, it's still like the same price. It's still like $6 a month, but it just kind of like brings everything into one. And if I needed to add like somebody else's email or something in there, then I would just go to the same website and just like create new account. Oh, I need to add Skylar as like a new employee or whatever, and it would just create an email for them. So did that answer your question? Hopefully. Like I don't have experience with a whole bunch of different like websites, but like those are the ones that I've used before. But yeah, I would try Squarespace to start.
Okay. Good, thank you.
Wonderful. Do we have any other questions?
I just want to acknowledge that I'm not really the target audience for this presentation. I'm here as a general interest kind of thing. That was a ton of information and I learned a lot, but I do not have any specific questions for you. But thank you for spending your evening teaching me things. Could you use it in the future? Yeah, and some of it I'm sure I will actually, because I am involved in some community stuff that is probably going to look into merchandising on a small scale. And so like a lot of that information was really useful. It's just not pointed at anything specific right now.
Cool. Yeah, I think like the print on demand is like super cool. I wish my husband did it. Like he just won't like, he's like, no, I'd rather have this stuff in store, because he does have a retail location.
That costs so much money.
I know. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
But it's like, but you could have black and white shirts and not have to have them in stock. Like,
and you could just have the number that you need instead of 150 extras. Yeah. No, that was super interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. Like, and I like that Art of Wear is from Montreal. Like they're pretty cool. And I think they have like a wide range. Like it's not just like t-shirts and hoodies and stuff. Like there's like notepads and like bedding for whatever reason. So
well, I think everybody wants their logo on their bedding, right?
Yeah. I think that example would be really great for like an artisan in this area. Like, yeah, there's so many great use case for it. But like, and that's what I've been trying to help out with Summerfolk is like, we have a Shopify store in production, but like I need somebody to, take pictures and put products up there for it to go live. Jared. So like that that needs to happen. But they could transition and have some of their merch through print on demand and not have to worry about like having that cost up front. So but I know like they're obviously like a physical thing. You want to go to Summerfolk and you want there to be t-shirts there, but it's a great way to like bridge the gap from when you can't afford stuff like that right away. Awesome. Skylar, anything that you want to like put out there?
I honestly just want to second what both Beth and Leith have said. This was a lot of really awesome information. I learned a lot. I'm also a musician, right? So like this was
Yeah.
super helpful in figuring out some ideas for how I want to start rolling out merch and all that stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
again, thank you so much.
Did you know about the print on demand beforehand?
I had heard a little bit about it, but
But didn't
wasn't super
understand what
familiar
it
with like
was.
how it worked or anything. So yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we had done something similar. There was a service called Cafe Press years and years ago. I remember, it must be 10 years ago now, when we had just gotten a new logo and it was really cool and I really liked it. And people were always asking, oh, can we get t-shirts? But I didn't want to have that whole bother of, collecting how many people wanted what size and what color and what style. So we just set up a Cafe Press account and linked to that on our website. And
Yeah.
same idea.
Yeah. And like something else I wanted to touch on. What was it called? Maybe was it called Bubble? No. Skylar, maybe you can help me out with this.
Is it Redbubble?
Yes, Redbubble. That's what it was. So Redbubble is like a cross between Etsy and print on demand, but it doesn't have a native connection to Shopify or WordPress or something like that. We wanted to use it for the Summerfolk website, but there's no API. There's no way to like make the connection. People would have to leave the website, go to somebody specific, like if they had to go to Skylar's account and pick out whatever their design was. So it didn't quite work for what they were looking for, but it is another great resource if you are just a musician or an artisan and you wanted to have like a hosted shop on Redbubble. It's similar to Etsy with combination of print on demand. So that's another great one. I will add that to the slide. Cool. Okay, any other questions while I'm here?
Nope.
No. Okay. And Skylar, I think you said that this is a recorded webinar, so I guess I would assume people can go through and watch it again if they missed tonight's, like if either of you thought, hey, this is really great and my friend should watch this, then Skylar's probably going to put out the link for this. You're also going to get a link to my Google Slides thing, that my presentation, so there's links on there as well, and that's open to anyone, so if you wanted to share that with someone else, even if they don't have a Gmail account, they should be able to access it.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for coming out again tonight, you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
You too.